Hello, we are from Group 1 from System Analysis and Design. I'm Lee Kai Lun, and today we'll be presenting on how to do a sequence and collaboration diagram. A sequence diagram is a diagram that shows the interaction between objects arranged in a time sequence. So, there will be 7 steps in doing a sequence diagram, which are finding the domain classes, draw control object lifeline, draw panel object lifeline, draw info object lifeline, draw active lifeline, adding message, and draw the sequence diagram. So, for the first, we will be finding the domain classes from the diagram, which are managing the item in our inventory management systems. And next, we will control the object lifeline, which is manage item. So, we will write manage item controller. This part will handle and coordinate the flow of control within a system. Third, draw the panel object lifeline, which is manage item panel. Panel plays a role as a user interface that relates in control or display information. It also usually contains buttons in it. 4. Draw the information object lifeline, which is the info items. It is a part that encapsulates or carries the information in the systems. And then, draw an actor lifeline. In our inventory management project, we will be using admin as the person that use or manage the item in the systems. And 6 is adding message. Message will be added, which shows and below. So, for example, admin sends the message on select manage item buttons to the manage item panel to receive it. The next message will be display manage item page where admin can choose 4 options, which are add items, update items, delete items, and search items. And while for the add items, admin first select the add item buttons, and after that, in manage item panel, it will display the add item page. After that, admin can enter item details and select the submit buttons, and which it will proceed to the submit item details to the manage item controller, and lastly, it will verify item details. If the verified item fails, it will show process invalid, and when it success, it will save the item details and display adding successful message. While for the update items, first admin will enter the item ID. After enter the item ID to the panel, it will submit the item ID into the controller. After that, it will get the item details. If it fails to get the items, it will show process invalid. Uh, in the contrary, if it success, it will show the display item details. After that, it will send back to the panel, and admin can select update item button. After that, it will display the update item details page. So in this moment, admin can update the item details, and if he wants to cancel it, he can press cancellations. So after update the items, admin need to select the update buttons. So when the panel receives it, it will submit the item details to the controller, and in here, the controller will be verify the item details. When it fails, it will show the perfect invalid. And at the same time, if it success, it will save the item details in the info items. And after saving the items, it will display the update successful message. And last, draw the sequence diagram, which is a box or the frames that we can show in here. It is a surrounds at the add items, and it also surrounds at the update items. This box helps in separating the sequence and shows which part is add item and which part is update items. That's all from me.
Hello, so I'll be continuing with sequence A3, A4, E1, and A5. So here, I'll be starting with A3, which is the delete item sequence. Here, the admin will need to enter the item ID. If the admin wishes to cancel this action, he will need to click on the cancel button, which will prompt A5. So from the panel, it will submit item ID to the controller. And from the controller, it will pass get item details to item info. If the item details are entered incorrectly, it will prompt E1 process invalid. If done correctly, then the system will display item details to the panel. So here, the admin will need to select the delete item button, and from there, the system shall display confirm message. Next, the admin will need to select the delete button. It will, from the panel, it will pass submit delete item to the controller, and from the controller, it will pass delete item to item info. If done incorrectly, it will prompt E1 process invalid. If done correctly, then it will display the delete successful message. Moving on, the A4 sequence search item. Here the admin shall enter the item ID. If he wishes to not continue, then he will need to click on the cancel button, which will prompt A5. If he wishes to continue, then from the panel, the system shall pass submit item ID to the controller, and from the controller, it will pass get item details to item info. If done incorrectly, then the E1 will be prompted and will show process invalid. If it is done correctly, then the system shall display item details. Next is exception 1, process invalid. Here is what happens, for example, in here, if the item details are entered incorrectly, then the system shall prompt process failed. And from process failed, the admin will need to select the reload button. And from reload button, the system will reload the page and show the previous page to the admin. And last but not least is sequence A5 cancellation. And if the admin chooses to cancel, the admin will select the cancel button, of course, and the system will display manage item page, which will bring the admin back to manage item page. That is all from me. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kritika C. Krishnan. Metric number is 296093. So for now, I'm going to present about the collaboration diagram that we did for our project. Okay, so what is collaboration diagram? It is used to show the relationship between the objects in a system. So both the sequence and collaboration diagrams represent the same informations but differently. So instead of showing the flow of messages, it's the architecture of object residing in the system as it is based on object-oriented programming. So an object consists of several features. Multiple objects present in the system are connected to each other. The collaboration diagram, which is also known as a communication diagram, which is used to portray the object's architecture in the system. Okay, in our system, we have almost 4 managed parts. So for now, we are going to explain about manage item. Okay, so in manage item, we have almost 4 options, which is admin can do either add new items or update the items or delete the existing items or search about the items. Okay, so let's see from process 1 till end. Okay, so this is the collaboration diagram. We did it for the manage item for our system. Okay, so first of all, let's see. So admin act as actor. So once admin click select manage item button, then the process really will go to manage item panel object. So what happened at here, once we have a plenty of menu bars, so once admin click menu item, so it will display manage item page. Okay, so once it's displayed, the admin can choose whether, as I mentioned before, admin can choose whether he want to add, update, delete or search about the item informations. So once so for example, for now the admin select add item button. So once he select add item button, so it will go to manage item panel, which is we identify as object. So once the process will go to be here, and later on it will display add item page. Okay, so after display add item page, the admin will enter item details. So once it's pop up, it's open the display add item page. So the admin need to enter all the item details. Okay, so enter item details. So then what will happen? Okay, so after input all the details, the admin should select submit button. So once select submit button, the process will go to manage item panel, and it will be go to manage item controller, where the submit item details. Once the admin click item submit button, so all the details will go to submit into database. Okay, so what will happen? Okay, so the manage item controller object will verify the item details, whether all the required field is filled or not. If there is any required field did not filled, then it will become invalid. So if once it's verified, then the item will be go to item info, where it will save item details. Okay, so after save item details, there will be a display adding successful message. So there will be a message which is successful. Okay, so this is one option. This is in manage, it's about add options. Okay, so let's see about update. Okay, so after this one, if admin wanted to change anything or wanted to update anything, okay, so admin can go to enter item ID. So once an admin enter item ID, it will be go to submit item ID. So it will be go submit item ID. So once it submit item ID, it will find the information in the database. So once it's find, so we will get the item ID details. So once we get item ID details, it will display item details. So once the system found out the data from the database, so it will display the item details. So once it will be display the item details, so now the admin can click the update button. So once the update button is clicked, or the update item details page will appear. Okay, then later it will be appear. Then later the admin can update item details. Okay, so the admin want to change, for example, the admin want to change the references. So once it's change references, then it will display the update item details page, and once it's like all the details are correct, then the admin can select update button. So once the admin select update button, it will be go to manage item panel, and it will go to manage item controller, where the submit item details. So once it's submitted, it will verify the item details, as I mentioned just now. If there is any required field, so it will be verified. Is that field is filled, or it will be empty. So once it's filled, it's verified, then it will be go to save item details. So once it's save item details, then there will be a message which is update successful. Okay, so this is about update process. So let's see about delete process. Okay, so for delete process, the process will be same as the update process. Okay, for delete, as usual, the admin need to enter item ID first. Okay, so once the admin enter the item ID, it will be go to find, it will be submit the item ID. So once it's submitted, it will be get the item ID. Once it's submitted, the system will find in the database, then it will be show in it will get the ID from the database, and then it will be display the item details. So once it will be displayed, so now the admin can delete the admin can delete the details as he wanted. Okay, so once it's display the item ID, later on select delete item button. So the admin can select delete item button. So once it's selected, it will display confirmation message. Confirmation message will be like, are you sure want to delete this? Then it will be two buttons, which is yes or no. Okay, so it will be display confirmation button. Then later on, select delete button. If yes, mean the admin will select yes. So it will be considered, the yes will be considered as delete button, because the admin giving confirmation to the system whether he want to delete the data. After the admin select delete button, it will be go to manage item controller. So it will submit the delete item to the manage item controller. So later on, the system will find in the database about the ID the admin really wanted to delete. So after it, so once it get the ID, it will be delete item. Okay, so after delete item, there will be a display message where is delete successful. Okay, so this is we already seen for add, update, and delete. So now let's see for the search. So after this, okay, if the admin really wanted to search about some details, he really want to see about some details, so it can go to enter item ID. So once you enter item ID, it will be go to manage item panel and iterate to manage item controller, where it will be submit item ID to the system. After that, we will get the item ID details from the system. So later on, it will be display item details. So if there is no such ID exist in the database, so there will be a prompt message which is failed. If there is if the IDs exist, then it will be display the item details. Okay, so after that, if there is no any ID access in the database, so it will be prompt process failed. So after prompt process failed, there will be a button where the system will ask the admin to reload the whole system. So once the admin to select the reload button, then it will be reload page. The admin can click cancel button. So once it's cancel button, then it will be automatically back to the main display item page. So this is what is we call a collaboration diagram, where it will be explain the architecture of the system, the architecture of a specific managed So this is the system. This is where it's starting from the end. It will be we can see the process very clearly. Okay, so we have a numbering here, so 1 2 3 4. So this will be explained what if the admin click, and it will be go to where, it will be what will be submit, what will be display, what the system finding. It's like everything we can see from this diagram. So this is diagram is mainly for that. Okay, thank you.